But in the meantime, their demands are simple: hold Boeing criminally accountable for the deaths of their loved ones. More than 5 years after the crashes of two Boeing 737 MAX jets, and amid a new probe into the plane maker's safety operations and management, the family of those killed in the 2018 and 2019 crashes meeting today with the Department of Justice. NewsNation's Joe Khalil is live in Washington. And Joe, we are learning more about what exactly the families told investigators and then what they heard in return.
Yeah, we've got some new information now, details, Nichole, from inside of that meeting between the Department of Justice, Boeing reps, and family members of those who died in those tragic Boeing crashes. They have been telling us that there is actually a proposed solution now that came out of that meeting, and it would be that the Department of Justice would take until the end of May. They would decide whether or not Boeing violated its agreement with the government. And if it did, whether the Justice Department is going to bring criminal charges against Boeing, whether there's something sort of in between, or whether they could make another deal to try to hash out something with Boeing or demand that they make more concessions than what they've made now. That is a really big update coming out of this meeting today. Now, the background of this is, again, these family members of victims who died in the Boeing jet crashes in 2018, 2019, they have been pressing the Department of Justice to criminally prosecute Boeing for not improving their safety standards over the years after these crashes and after a series of near tragedies over the last year or so. In 2021, Boeing and the DOJ entered into an agreement. Boeing at that time was forced to overhaul its safety compliance and its standards, and they were forced to pay out $2.5 billion in fines and in compensation to these victims' families. And in return, the Justice Department would agree not to prosecute the jet maker. The deal technically expired in January of this year, but 2 days before the expiration, the door panel blew off of an Alaska Airlines Boeing jet, along with, again, a series of other public issues that Boeing has had. And so these victims' families are now saying, look, clearly Boeing did not honor its part of the deal. Otherwise, there wouldn't be these continuing and ongoing safety issues. We talked to one family member, Nadia Milaron. Her daughter was on the 2019 Ethiopian Airlines flight that crashed, and she tragically died. She says it has been incredibly frustrating for herself and for other families who have been wanting to see the Justice Department go more aggressively at holding Boeing accountable.
If this was an actual human being instead of a corporation that killed 346 people, you wouldn't be allowing them to still risk people's lives. You would not defer the prosecution anymore, but you would prosecute. And that's what the DOJ needs to do. And there's a huge reluctance on the part of the DOJ to do that.
So these families are going to have to wait a little bit longer, according to the terms, again, that we're reporting from inside that meeting today. They will wait until the end of May to see whether or not the DOJ thinks Boeing violated those agreements and whether there could be criminal charges against the jet maker. That is huge. Now, we reached out already to the Department of Justice and to Boeing. Neither one wanted to comment for this story today, Nichole.
All right, Joe Khalil live in D.C. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.